I always almost click the leave meeting button. Should be funny. Anyway, cool. Thanks everyone for joining another episode of the OpenJS Foundation's Cross-Project Council meeting. Today is August 22nd, excuse me, 2023. And let me drop this streaming link into the minutes. Of course, folks, don't forget to add yourself to the list of attendees. I don't know why, but sometimes Google Docs does not let me paste in. There it goes. The streaming link. Anyway, yeah, add yourself. You know, everybody loves a note taker too. So anybody who can help with notes is great. Thank you. And we will get things started. Anything on the announcements front? No?
We have a standards working group following this session, so everyone is welcome if you want to check in and see what's up.
Yeah, it reminds me I'm not going to be able to make it today. I got some work stuff. Claudio?
Same, sadly I have Jim, but I just want to announce that our agenda for the Collab Summit is ready for anyone that is interested to, you know, see what we have planned for Collab Summit. I have an idea if people will still submit more stuff. We got 1 hour of free time in the end that maybe we can, you know, do something spontaneous hosted by Joe. You know, no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, the agenda is ready, and I'm very excited with what we have planned for this Collab Summit. There's a lot of cool stuff. So yeah, that's it.
I think that's Claudio saying he wants to do PowerPoint karaoke again.
Well, anytime,
Yes.
anytime. Now we know the link and everything, we're good to go. Great. Anything else on the announcements front? No. All right, great. So we will get into things then, get into the agenda here. The first item is issue 1147, revamping the travel fund. We've kind of been working on this a bit. I don't know if it was a working session or what, but we kind of talked through some of this. And it is certainly a concern as it has been used a lot more this year, and I think we are actually running out of money. So we need to figure out what we're doing with that.
And in particular, it seems useful to set up kind of some objective categorization rubrics. So like, for example, if you're asking for funds for something that's related to standards, please get approval from the standards working group first. Or if you're asking for something, you know, if you're asking for something related to a conference that is not where you're not a speaker and it's not put on by the foundation, or, you know, or something like, I don't know, whatever the criteria should be, but just kind of a way to make it more clear what you have to do. Whereas right now it kind of does seem like you can just ask for money for whatever. And but it's been working because for the most part, the people asking for money have been insiders already. And so they know what's going on. But this year, as you mentioned, there's been a lot more new fund applicants and, you know, and more applications in general. So that seems like it would be a nice thing to add.
Yeah, and I will let folks who have their hands up talk, but I just want to mention, like, this might be a good thing to do a working session on and really dig into and like just figure it out and then put something in place, which I know we've talked about already. But anyway, Sarah.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that we talked about it at this last board meeting, and so the board is aware of this and are looking for a proposal. So folks are aware and understand that this is an issue and will likely become an issue sooner rather than later with some international travel coming.
Claudio?
Yep. what I would say also is I think it's very useful if people, on the application, because the current system is, it has its flaws, and as we know, we want to, rework both the part of keeping track on, the applications and etc., and also the privacy things and etc. But at least for the system that we have at hand, we can ask for people to give us more context why they're applying. What are they going to do on those events, and etc. But it is hard, for example, to I don't know in which position I am to actually, say yes and no, because one example is Santiago. He wanted to apply to attend to, Collab Summit and OpenJS World, but he's not.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I don't think we should be talking about like specific cases of specific individuals in the streamed in the streamed call.
But it's public right now.
Still, I don't think we should be having this conversation now. Like, please continue with your point, but just like I don't think we should have this like use a specific example right now.
Sure, that's fair. Sorry, I didn't want to name people, but point given is I might have a hard time to actually realize, okay, are those points given valid enough? What are the criteria here? Because we don't really have a list of criteria. We know that speakers they have the most priority right now, but besides of that, what would be really valid reasons, even more than now we are with very low budget remaining. Is now the time to say no's and etc.? Yeah.
Yep, we're gonna have to figure this out ASAP, but I think a working session is probably gonna be best to like work through it all. But I want to hear folks who have their hands up for sure. Michael.
Yeah, I was going to say I agree with providing a little bit more context, but I think the other thing is I don't know if what Sarah meant is the board is waiting for a proposal to increase the cap, because in the past it was always, yeah, don't worry about the amount so much. If you need more, make a proposal to ask for more. So I think we should be thinking about that versus just assuming we have to cut and say no, right? Like if the people are making requests that fit into what we think should be supported, then maybe we should be asking for more money to support that.
Yeah, I think for 2024, that makes sense. So we can be planful, but 2023 would put us in a deficit. So.
Okay, so to be clear, that's not what was,
Mhm.
the board was not looking for an increase or expecting an increase, just that they're aware. Okay, I see you nodding.
So I guess we should assume that if we've asked, the answer is no. Like, I mean, I don't want to just not ask unless the official answer is no. Sorry, that's not going to happen, right?
I'm also entirely confused by this. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was asking if we should ask for more money this year. I think I don't know. I think without a clear criteria set, then are you setting precedents for 2024? So I think, as Joe mentioned, maybe try to figure it out soon. So we have some sort of long-term precedent for planning for 2024. If we do ask for more money, if you all ask for more money this year, it would just put us in deficit spend. We do have a reserve, but I would love to have a good case for that. So.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we can consider that as we like if we came to the board with a plan for next year,
Yeah.
and a little bit extra to cover this year, maybe that's something we can consider.
Sure. Yeah.
Michael, did you have more? You good?
No, sorry. Just, based on past indication that we should just ask for more when we needed more. I just wanted to make sure we don't just exclude that as unless it's like, unless we have the absolute answer as opposed to just assuming the answer.
Sure. Yeah, it makes sense to ask. It doesn't hurt to ask. We'll see. All right, cool. Toby.
Yeah, two things quickly. One was about getting clarity as to whether that implied that the board was asking for a proposal for more money or not. So I think that's kind of covered, but I'm not entirely sure that I actually got like a clear answer to this. I do understand like there's a deficit for the foundation problem if we dig into this, which is something that we need to consider. The other thing was we sort of discussed in that issue was Ben, who's actually running like most of the operations behind this, that he would be sort of like championing some kind of like organization or like proposal around this. I think that would be great. And I think that if we can help you, Ben, to make this rather earlier than later, we should. But I think if you're running this, most of like the process should be driven by, I mean, the design of the process should be driven by you.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I can try to have something this week. I think intake, how a person submits a request and actually files the request, those are totally things that I have in my brain already that I can help with. I think, and maybe I can help you structure this, but where I will need guidance from the CPC, or where the CPC needs to basically make some decisions, is what's the rubric? What's your decision making for requests, right? So I'll just put in like an area for that to be decided. I can put in some starter thoughts, but I really think that's up to the CPC. So it's like a 50-50 thing.
Yeah.
And as Jordan, I just want to add in, Jordan mentioned in the rubrics for how you can allocate, because I think the standards working group could use all 60, right? Easily, you know, in 3 months, even, who knows, but you know, I'm exaggerating, but not quite. So
Yeah,
people are not that bad.
it's international, it's the international travel that's really, and airfares are really high right now. So yeah, when you
it would also probably be useful then for the CPC to like loosely allocate like which percentage of the budget, like a specific dollar amount for standards and for conferences, for speakers and for non-speakers, and and we can adjust that as a group anytime we need to, but that sort of puts a lot of context, because I don't think it's about, like you said, it's not decision making, because I think we all want to send everyone to everything. It's about prioritization, because we can't do that, and it's hard to prioritize and to figure out how to prioritize if we don't know like how much money we have and how much, you know, when we're deciding how much to spend.
Yeah, and I do want to time box this a bit so that we can get through the agenda and get to the private session. And I'll let you speak in a second, Sarah. I think it would be good if we could, if we have a working session next week, to be kind of prepared. So Ben, if you can,
yeah, absolutely,
at least have a little bit of an idea what you're thinking on the operations side. Maybe Jordan, or maybe even the standards meeting happening next, we could kind of figure out what the rest of the year looks like, so we can see what we might need to ask for or whatnot. But you know, folks who are interested in this, to try and come prepared next week to really make some decisions and move forward. Sarah?
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly follow up on Toby's question. I think what I heard, what I saw the other day, is that the board does understand that we're going to the, we're projected to run out of money before the end of the year. Additionally, we're operating at a deficit right now. I think that's okay for me to say. And so I think it would be a tough decision to say, let's allocate a whole bunch of money to the travel fund. So I think the suggestion is to come up with something better for next year. And then if we're looking for more this year, then we could talk about it and would have to weigh trade-offs, if that makes sense.
Also, just to be clear, we are not currently running at a deficit for the travel fund.
No, sure. Not for the travel funds. Sorry.
Gotcha. Okay, just want to be clear.
Yeah.
Thank you both. This is super.
So I think the plan then is to do a working session next week on this and really try to get it figured out. Okay, good. Claudio?
Yeah, I was just going to say that I got hung in the part of deficit. So even though the travel fund is in a deficit, is the foundation right now operating in deficit? Like, are we, or I just got curious about that now.
I think I spoke out of turn. I think we've had some unforeseen expenses this year, and this would just be another unforeseen expense.
Yeah, and then some of the economic downturn means some of our members are paring down as well on the support or their level, so.
Wait, so we will have updates on that, or that already happened?
An update on specifically,
Oh, the members like going down on their tiers.
we'll have an update on that, yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Mhm.
Great, Toby?
We have one in particular, so.
No, that's Robin answered, so I'm good.
Cool. All right, so I'm gonna move on. We're good. We'll talk more next week. Folks who can attend, the more from the group involved here, the better. And if we can try to be as prepared as possible to make some decisions and structure this as best we can and move along. Cool. All right, I'm gonna move along then. The next item is a quick and easy one. I looked at this morning and updated the pinned repos on the foundation, which I think they were like kind of auto pinned from GitHub, because when I went to edit it, none of them were already selected. I just chose 6 that made sense to me: the CPC, security collab space, OpenViz collab space, standards, project status, which was what the issue was about, and the summit repo makes sense right now with the collab summit happening. So closed it. We're good.
Thanks, awesome.
Excellent. Next one. This one has been around for a bit. The requirements for projects releasing internal projects to third-party contributor. I'm not sure.
We have, yeah, I don't have, the ones that are marked legal, we haven't, we don't have an update yet. We've just have a bandwidth
see.
issue, so.
Okay, it's got the legal tag. Got it. Okay,
Yeah.
so no update. And then I assume, isn't there another one that's related to that? The requirements.
Thank you for that new legal tab or tag.
I want to just jump to 1059, which is Ben's request for projects ingesting other. That's the same kind of thing, right? We're still waiting on the. Okay. I just bop this one up to the top here. Waiting on. Oh, okay, cool. And there.
And so is 1088, by the way.
1088. Okay, great. I'll take that one. Oops, sorry, doing work. Waiting on legal. All right, great. So knock those 3 down. So we got a big fun one here. Summer elections. Everybody loves elections. I don't know, Ben, do you want to give an update on this, or you want me to try and do it? Or
Yeah, I'm happy to provide this, and Joe jump in. So this is my first time doing CPC elections, so please bear with me as I try to do this right. So there are 4 currently happening. There's the CPC secondary director, there's the impact voting members, there's at-large and regular voting members. The GitHub issue that's linked to there is a tracking issue. So all 4 of those elections are linked to from there. Let me, Joe, you okay if I share my screen? Can I do that?
sure, go ahead.
Okay. This will just be easier. Hopefully folks can see this. All right, so here's the tracking issue. Here's the 4 elections. I'm just going to briefly talk through each, because I just want to make people aware of the deadlines. And honestly, I might need some help from people here to sort of encourage the project teams to nominate folks and sort of herding the cats. So first up here, this is the easy one, the secondary director. There's a Google form to complete if you are interested in this one. There's, I think, 3 or 4 folks that have already self-nominated, so that's great. I extended the nomination period for this one a week just because it's August and I know a lot of people are out on vacation. So nomination period for this one ends on the 25th. We'll do the election in 1 week. 1 week time span, we'll try and do that. And then winner of this one will be announced in early September. That's pretty straightforward.
Ethan, do you have a question related to that one?
Sorry. Yes, Ethan.
Sort of. where are the like descriptions of these roles? And like, what does it mean to be running for any one of these? And like, and whatnot. Just that, like, sort of like if you were to figuratively run for secondary director, what are your responsibilities you're taking on and all that jazz?
Yeah, I realized I should have linked to this is all documented in the CPC repo. I think most of that stuff is in the governance document. So I can add a link to that there, but it's all defined there.
Cool. Yeah, because I'm not aware of like sort of what all these different membership roles are and whatnot. So it'd be interesting to learn a little bit more about what they all are.
Yeah, and that's a good call. I think I linked to the descriptions, the other ones. I just missed this one, so I'll add that here.
Well, and honestly, looking at them, there's not a lot of description as to what the expectations are per se. So we could probably even do better on that. Sarah?
Yeah, I could TLDR it and maybe we can put something small. I think or at least what I've interpreted the goal to be is to be a representative to the board from the CPC. So understanding what's important to the CPC, what we're thinking about, anything that we're concerned about that we can share with the board, and also vice versa, talking back to the CPC about what you're learning from the board and any concerns or ideas that might be coming out of board meetings, just to make sure that communication is facilitated well.
Our documentation, I think, also distinguished the primary and the tertiary as one is CPC and one's project, but I think we're finding that they're very similar since you all represent the projects anyhow, so.
Yeah, I think it wouldn't be bad to take a look at the charter here and just maybe make it, and maybe it actually shouldn't even be in the charter. I don't know. We can add more description elsewhere. But yeah, it would be good to just have a little bit more there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can be a fresh set of eyes because honestly, I don't remember reading anything about these, and I thought I read through most of the documents, but definitely could have just missed it or forgetting it. So happy to be a guinea pig to make sure that the descriptions of all these make sense and are clear.
And I think we have an
document.
Yeah, and I think we have an opportunity coming up too, as we do make some changes around adding the third seat, which isn't going to be tied to the individual membership program and such. So we could maybe, again, simplify this and give a little bit more clarity as we work through that. So.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I just want to mention, I thought about, we just did the vote on the board to open up that third seat, right? The change in the bylaws. And I thought about running that additional seat at the same time as this one, but we don't have the bylaws published yet, and we don't have the updates to the CPC governance documents yet, and so we can't do that. So when those are all set, we'll just use the same process and open up the third seat.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, sorry, I'll try to move faster. Second up here is impact voting members. I did link to the description of what this means here. So yeah, these are representatives from each of the impact projects. So I did tag all of these projects in here. This is one of the ones where I might need some help in herding the cats to get some nominations for this one. We have another week or so, but yeah, I'll start to reach out to these individuals in Slack to get them to provide their nominations. And again, this is one that the CPC will ratify in the weeks following.
Cool. So
and these
that's a selection, not an election.
Correct. Selection, not an election. Yes. Makes an excellent t-shirt. So these two, I think these two are ones where we're going to adjust the voting process next year. Currently, they say to email the chair, which obviously isn't that great for Joe. So once this election is done, we'll rework this process. But Joe, I don't know if you want to talk about these two briefly.
Yeah, we have a role that is meant to, or I think up to two folks who can be voting members that are essentially representing at-large projects. Because the thinking is impact projects have voting members. So to give the at-large projects representation as well, This was sort of our thinking here. And then it's similar for the regular members voting members. That essentially we wanted to give regular members a voice in votes. Again, votes happen so infrequently, maybe we're kind of overthinking this. But these are essentially, I think up to 2 members can be voting member, regular member, voting member, representatives. This is another area, and I don't know, Toby, if this is a part of your kind of suggestions when we were looking at simplifying all this, but we have voting members. These folks are supposed to represent regular members. The other one is supposed to represent at-large projects, but we're all kind of in this just together, representing everything. We're all really, I think, thinking about the community and the projects and all the work that we're doing. So maybe it makes sense to just simplify this. But for the sake of this conversation, we have these 2 elections open as well. I believe these are also contact the CPC. Yes, the CPC chair, which is me. Feel free to email or Slack me is fine too. I've got a number of folks who have already nominated.
Joe, do you need any help with you mentioned you had a couple folks. Are you getting folks for both of these?
Yes, for both
okay.
of them. Yeah.
Okay,
and
great.
And we've had issue in the past, and so I am trying to be explicit with each person. Are you running for this or that or both? And getting clarity on that as we move forward.
Okay, cool. Ethan.
I think that's sort of my question is like, if you're technically a member of a at-large project, like for example, like my relationship with Fastify, would then, like me running for one of these positions, like would I be running for both regular voting and at-large voting member, or like would I be running, or would I just pick one if I'm not as active in Fastify anymore? So maybe it's better if I'm just a regular voting member versus an at-large voting member.
I think it's whichever one you are drawn to, or both. And I think even if you weren't as involved with Fastify in terms of the at-large voting member, as long as you were saying I want to help represent at-large projects, then I think that's satisfactory.
Cool.
Toby?
Yeah, run for both. And yes, Joe, we need to like simplify this and make this like the same thing, because in practice, there's no real concrete difference, despite having tried for years to actually make a concrete difference between these different roles. So yeah.
Maybe we just say they're community voting members and they cover at-large projects and regular members, and bring it all.
We can bike shut the name. I'm happy with that. Just make it simpler.
As someone who is trying to unpack how to run these, yes, that would be amazing. This was very difficult to try and understand how to do this right.
Yeah,
but I think
I'd flag the one time we vote, and that's for the board, the CPC board. So when you look on our website and you see the pictures of this, the community folks, those are the folks who vote for the board positions. So everything else pretty much is regular member at large consensus.
We could probably simplify that too. I mean, frankly, and yeah, there was a story that will stay private of like confusion among the folks who are not supposed to be confused about this at all, myself included, which like really looked bad, and I'm happy it wasn't like that public, and so that's a really good sign that we like really need to simplify stuff. And so I feel for you, Ben. This must have been awful trying to figure this stuff out by yourself, but you did a great job. Thank you.
It was fine. I had some coffee and a cat next to me, so it was good.
Is the cat still around?
Yeah.
Yes, she is.
Good.
Good. Everything worked out then. Great. All right. Well, we'll work on that soon. Maybe in the following working session. So cool. So everybody's aware there's stuff happening. Feel free to message me if you have questions or if you want to self-nominate, and we'll go from there. Cool. I'm going to try to hustle a bit here. Code of Conduct Plan of Action, issue 1122. There's been some activity here, but maybe not. Well, there's a couple things that are open, right? Toby, you've got a draft pull request open. I'm trying to see what else is maybe here. Yeah, me removing the columns. So
I
yeah,
unfortunately don't think we had a ton of action over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I actually had a bunch of like personal stuff to manage, and as a result, just didn't have any time for anything. Hopefully we can fix this and not let this linger again, because that would be really bad. And so we really should not. But yeah, I don't think there's much to report.
okay. Cool. Yeah, and I'm in a similar boat. I made a little bit of progress and then got super busy at work. Not much in the last couple of weeks, but more. Cool. All right, so moving on. And if anybody looks at that issue and sees something that they want to help move forward, please by all means jump in and help us move that stuff forward. Toby helpfully laid out a really great plan, and just things need to get done. Great. Next on the agenda here is the collab spaces over working groups thing. I don't
No progress here either.
yeah, no progress here either, but I think we wanted to alert standards and then just maybe work on what it looks like and how we write it down and document it. If I'm not mistaken, I think we've agreed on it. We just need to move forward.
That's right.
All right, cool. And again, Toby helpfully laid out a bunch of stuff here, so we can start moving that along. Courtesy board updates. I don't know if that's been relayed to the board that we're looking at doing this. Maybe just an email would be satisfactory if we think it's necessary.
Sorry, do you mind? I think I do specifically that we're doing what?
So essentially, we want to simplify stuff, and we have working groups and collab spaces, and they're the same thing, was like a small, tiny difference.
Yeah.
And so the idea is to clean that up, so we have only one of those, and would keep collab spaces. That implies a tiny charter change, I think, which will need to be approved by the board. But so it's really courtesy in the sense that it's just heads up that we'll be doing this. It's fairly like non-contentious, and so it should just like, we're not concerned. But it's just essentially, if you can, essentially mention this would be good.
And maybe it just makes sense to just mention it when we do the charter update, because we gotta ping them anyway. So why ping them twice? I guess it's not contentious. Whatever.
Doesn't seem controversial.
Yeah.
It is not.
Okay. Cool. I am going to move along. Next one on the agenda is 1106, I believe, the nonviolent communication strategic workplace conflict resolution training. I know, Robin, you were looking at that.
Yeah. Yeah, I went into the Node Foundation files. I still have all of those, and to look for the training. I only found the person who did the mediation. They must have subcontracted from there. So I couldn't find who did any sort of anything on the Node Foundation, but I did like Dr. Gloria Chan. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and get an estimate from her to see what she would propose for our organization, and we'll just move forward with that.
All right, great. Next on the agenda is the JSON schema charter request to review. I say we skip over this one and we'll talk about it at the end. Makes sense. Next on the agenda is 1055 pull request, simplify CPC board representation. This is largely approved. I'm scrolling to the bottom, trying to get, this is, Toby, you want to give an update?
Yeah, sure. Ben can give us an update too. Essentially, that has been approved by the changes have been approved to the bylaws, have been approved by the board. We haven't seen the new bylaws yet. My understanding is they're fairly close to what we had initially proposed. but I might be mistakening. So would like to have clarity around this. And then once that's done, there was a proposal for charter changes from Andy, our council, and a PR on our end, and we just need to reconcile those so that we can approve them here and then get the board to approve them, and then just do all the things and move on.
Yeah, and just I'm working with Andy to get the bylaw, the final version of the bylaws. So we were talking yesterday, and I sent him some questions, and so hopefully we'll get that resolved. But it's a work in progress.
Wonderful.
Great.
Yeah, that's Andy Up the Grove, our legal counsel, as Toby mentioned.
Great. The next two issues, I think we can kind of skip to, open up community board seat, which we're working on. Should we have a co-chair, kind of all bundled up with that other work, right? So we'll have progress in that soon as we kind of iron out some of the details. And then the last one is balancing privacy versus transparency for the travel fund, which I think we already have in mind as we work through the travel fund revamp.
Yeah, I think we just remove the label on this one because it's already covered by the other one.
Yeah, got it. I will do that right now.
I'll do that right now.
Oh, thank you. Great. Then I will wrap up the session here and thank everyone for being here. And for folks who may be watching or watching later, thanks. We meet every other week. Come and hang out. So we'll call it a wrap, end the stream, and jump into the private session. Cool.